Check this out, new at 4 o'clock. Sex, drugs, and scary videos on a popular children's app. Inappropriate videos have infiltrated YouTube Kids, often showing popular children's characters in violent and even sexual scenarios.
YouTube Kids is a platform for child-friendly content that has become increasingly popular since its inception. Content for children, but which often contains inappropriate themes for young viewers. In fact, its growth has been hindered by a very serious problem. When channels started appearing that published quite strange content, videos with millions of views that increasingly attracted the attention of the youngest viewers, created a real trauma for many of them. Most of these videos featured violence, sexuality, and obscene language, showing characters such as Elsa and Spiderman performing depraved and violent acts, often with dangerous objects such as syringes. The worst thing is that the creators had devised techniques to make the videos go viral but without being deleted from YouTube. A horrendous system for making easy money, deceiving thousands of children with content that seemed harmless on the surface, but which in reality concealed truly disturbing messages. But the problem, unfortunately, is still relevant today. It all started in 2009 when a video, David After Dentist, went very viral on the platform. The video was posted by the father where he showed his son's reaction to oral anesthesia. But despite the popularity, many users criticized the father's choice, seeing it as a way to profit on the back of a minor. But only 6 years later, in 2015, another boy emerges on the platform. His name is Ryan, and he will have an impact which nobody expected. Ryan was too young to do everything on his own. In fact, the support and management of the channel was under the control of his parents. Thanks to them, for 3 years in a row, he was the highest paid YouTuber in the world, earning more than $250,000. And the earnings came mainly from unboxing toys, which allowed him to create a real empire. So many started to wonder if Ryan was being exploited for financial gain by his parents, and if there was a manipulative strategy behind it all. Because by analyzing the unboxing videos of the toys, some research has shown that the target audience of his videos are too young to understand what an advertisement is, engaging the young audience to buy because of the sheer involvement. From there, some people intended to do much worse things by exploiting the fact that the videos are aimed at an audience of children who are not able to select the content themselves and do not know how to choose what to watch. And the best way to do that was to use an app designed specifically for the entertainment of young children. That same year in 2015, YouTube released YouTube Kids, an app that was made to allow children to explore a more controlled environment on their own in an easy and fun way. And this is where it all began, with the Elsagate phenomenon. Elsa refers to the character of Frozen, and gate is a term related to scandals. The worst thing was that no one talked about it until someone noticed that something was wrong. The Elsagate channels have existed since 2012, but only in 2016 did the outcry begin, when The Guardian published an article pointing out a disturbing channel called Webs and Tiaras. The channel in question used characters such as Spider-Man, Elsa, and Joker, and had behavior that made no logical sense. But what made even more sense was the high number of views they were getting. Because despite the age limits on YouTube, in order to appear in the search engine, they used keywords such as learn to read, color with us, all constructed from very colorful and seemingly harmless thumbnails, but which played on elements such as injuries, sexuality, sewage, parental problems, and often there was no dialogue but only verses. And it was done on purpose to attract a wider audience. To confuse the algorithm, they were sometimes published with titles written in Vietnamese. The content produced was in 2D but was also created in more elaborate ways such as clay animations, which take a long time to produce. But all this, of course, without legal authorization. And other channels popped up, such as Toy Monster, The Superhero's Life, and The Kids Club, all very similar to each other and with the same animations. All these questions led to a lot of media attention. There were those who believed they did it for money, those who believed the government wanted to implement mind control on the little ones, or those who thought it was just for personal taste. It was all a strategy. The Vietnamese language titles, the animation production company, the silent scenes, and it turned out that the channels on which they posted content were channels that were often hacked or bought with many subscribers, so as to start already ahead in terms of visibility. In February 2017, The Verge magazine published a disturbing article. Shortly afterwards, the BBC also pointed out the problem by referring to one clip in particular, that of Peppa Pig. Where the character underwent the painful extraction of several teeth, and hundreds of similar videos began to appear on the app. The technique was to disable the comments and the dislike button, so as to confuse the impact they had on the public. While the parents believed there was nothing wrong with this, when the children started to pay the price, it was time to put an end to it. Because while parents kept their little ones occupied for hours on the platform without knowing anything, children ended up watching content of their favorite characters using needles, being victims of violence and sexuality. Since many of these videos are on YouTube, it's also easy for many to come across them because of the automatic playback. Perhaps the parent searches for and plays a completely harmless video, but after the video ends, the platform plays other similar ones. Things get even more complicated if the child is not yet able to speak and thus cannot accurately communicate the images he or she is seeing or read the title of the video that is about to be played. Things began to change thanks to new YouTube guidelines in 2017 that prohibited creators from using costumes of famous or popular characters in cartoons, with strict rules regarding subject matter. The company announced in a statement that it had removed more than 270 accounts and deleted more than 150,000 videos. That same year, one channel in particular was shut down by YouTube that had 8 million subscribers. The channel was called Toy Freak and was created by a single father named Greg. The videos often featured his daughters as victims of their father's pranks, creating psychological problems for them, and YouTube intervened by permanently blocking the channel. This reinforced the child safety policy. Fortunately, most of the channels were closed and many videos blacked out. The popularity of the app increased dramatically and content control became even stricter, as each video was submitted to the control of a physical person. But when it all seemed to be over after YouTube's efforts that had finally managed to remove Elsagate from the platform, something resurfaced. In 2018, in fact, it was the Gacha Life app that allowed the problem to persist. The app in question allows you to create animated short stories with characters that you can customize to your liking, and because of this, was immediately used by various people to spread this terrible content. Gacha Life in the App Store is recommended for an audience of 9 years old, but the criticism it has been receiving in the last period is many. Yes, because YouTube is full of Gacha Life videos turned into adult content. That's why in 2023 many videos are making a comeback, and in an even worse way. Because the Elsagate phenomenon is very strong and still popular nowadays. In fact, there are channels such as Kissy Show that show exaggerated costumes and behavior not suitable for a children's audience, but is not known why the channel has become so popular in a very short time without being blacked out by the new YouTube regulations. And the games that are very popular today on YouTube, kids like Poppy Playtime, are in fact often harmful content that is no different from the previous ones with Elsa and Spiderman. In practice, the Elsagate phenomenon has undergone a selective process due to restrictions on content, masquerading as children's content, but intended for adults. And where there is selection, there is adaptation and evolution. So, although the platform is certainly a safer environment, Elsagate is still among us in a minor way, but the path that has led us to this point has been complex and full of challenges. Many children have been negatively affected by Elsagate videos, and it is said to be too early to assess the long-term damage.